Hi, everyone. So, who's autistic this week? Nobody asked. Well, I am late to most parties, and this is no exception. You guys have probably been following these ladies for a while, but the I've Had It podcast, Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan, in my opinion, they're both autistic. I have a really strong feeling about the both of them, but I've been watching them for like the last few weeks. I've been meaning to get around to it because I keep hearing about I've Had It and how funny they are. Especially Jennifer Welch. Hilarious. So, um, they're autistic in my opinion. And if you're not the only one who hasn't heard of them, maybe go check out I've Had It wherever you get like podcasts or like their YouTube channel because that's where I watch them slash listen is on YouTube and pretty fucking funny, man. Um Also, I think I mentioned that the Mycelis brothers, Ben, Brett, and Jordy. I sound like a dork, but that's okay. From Midas Touch, I am pretty positive that they're autistic as well. And but I think I said that one before, and oh my god, like I love Ben so much. I love Ben. I've got like a news crush on him. Like I've replaced Rachel Maddow with Ben Mycelis. Um, Rachel's great, but she still works for um corporate media. Um, so yeah, like my heart is like I've got it just set on Ben. The only thing I don't like about Midas Touch is they do interviews with people that I wish they wouldn't do interviews with sometimes. Like Gavin Newsom, stop fucking interviewing that dude. He's just scum in my opinion. Like just even more has come out about that dude. Like, dude, you're not that different. You espouse yourself to be so different from like billionaires and greedy people, but you're not, and you don't like trans people, which is pretty obvious. So you can just like fuck right off. Um, who else? Ruben Gallego, I've seen him on there before. That dude looks fucking evil to me, just evil. And he was like Eric Swalwell's like bestie or is. So there's just some people that I'm like, get them off of your fucking like channel because like, it's just they end up not they end up getting themselves into trouble, and then you have to stop talking to them anyways. Like, get a better eye for some of this shit. I don't know. That's the only gripe I have. Everything else about that channel I'm obsessed with. Like I watch almost all the videos. Um I mean all of their videos, but not all of the like who cares? Nobody cares. And then do you know who else I suspect is autistic? But like he's just wonderful. John Ossoff. Oh my god, did I say that right? Ossoff? He's wonderful. Oh my gosh, I am in love with the way that this dude can fucking speak. Ooh, it's so good. And like I'm watching these videos about don't worry, I'm gonna stop talking about this bullshit in a couple minutes, but like Todd Blanche like has that fucking hearing crap that he's doing. Disgusting motherfucker. Fucking disgusting. And so like when, everybody does their news for the day, like they do all these news videos, I tend to just skip through the parts of the hearing where it's just like, a senator saying something and then the person being questioned just is an evil motherfucker and doesn't answer it, and just, it's wasteful, it's infuriating, it brings me straight to rage a lot of the times, and so I don't watch it, and so I just listen to the commentary about the video or that clip like before or after. Like, so there's a lot of videos where I just, maybe they're 15 minutes long, and I watched like 5 minutes of the commentary because I cannot stomach these evil fucking people. But when I hear that John Ossoff is like doing the questioning, ooh, I am like watching every fucking second of that because it's glorious. He's so good at speaking. And how did Ben, somebody described it recently, that he has this like mix of like disgust and authority and all these other things I forgot. It's just wonderful. I love listening to him because it's like, hey, woo, I admire people who can talk like that. Just that's how you talk? Wow. How'd you learn that fucking skill? That's crazy to me. And the fact that like he can command the sort of attention where the people that he's questioning, they still do a lot of fucking around when it comes to not answering the question, but in my opinion they do less of it, and they're really just like they really just look bad when they have to be on the receiving end of like him. So I don't know, that's made me really happy recently watching him. Anyways, moving right along. um I have like a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna try to talk a little quicker and hope my brain keeps the same speed. So I had to cut somebody out of my life recently because of their fucking chaos. Um, I mean, I feel like this week has been like different kinds of like chaos. Not all of them like bad, but anyways, like this one. So basically, the short story is I did not enforce boundaries like I should have when it came to this particular person, and they're just somebody that decent person, but poor boundaries themselves, like messaging me all the time, multiple times a day, even though like they knew I wasn't like that and that I had explained my communication differences, because the way I communicate is like, yeah, I like talking to people. Um, but I have to have like the mental bandwidth. I think that sounds like a dumb term and overused by myself for sure, but I have to have my brain in a certain place to be able to message people because that's just how I've always been. Communication's difficult for me, verbally for sure. Way easier, like in messaging and emails and stuff like that. Although it does take me longer because I have to think about what I want to say. I have to process what the other person said. Sometimes I read other people's messages and it really makes me think for several hours, maybe into the next day before I respond. So, like, there's all the stuff that goes into it. And I'm not somebody that can do the constant messaging throughout the day. Or even if, like, I don't, and I hop on to like my email or a platform, and then like I open up my chat and I see all these fucking messages just piled up, and I'm like, damn it, and I have to sit here and sort through them all because I didn't have time during the day to keep up with them. It's just like I too much. And so a lot of that's on me for not being clear with like, this is a lot, and I don't mean to dissuade anybody. If you do ever want to message me, like, oh, I hear my mouth. Hold on. Fucking mouth sounds, man. Um, like I like talking to people. I don't like opening, wait for me to respond to your first message. If you really have to send that second one, okay. But like wait until you get a fucking response. Like, it's just like people who like everything that happens, they have to like tell me about it. Anyways, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting all over the person because like they were a decent person until like that got a little bit much, like a lot actually, these last like few weeks. And like the I'm used to I appreciate consistency with people, but it's just been like a barrage of issues, and then a bunch of silence from the person, and then a barrage of messages about all these problems and like this stuff happening, and then doesn't seem to be very like good solutions or want to talk about solutions, and then like silence, and it's just a lot of inconsistency. uh, I don't know, maybe some narcissism, I'm not sure. And then like I'm sitting there, how do I tell this person like I can't really communicate like this anymore? But they kind of did it for me, because then like randomly I get this text message. Yes, I gave my phone number to this person. I shouldn't have done that. but I get this like text message that said something like, "This ends now." And then another one that said, "That was my wife." And then another one that said, like, uh, "I can't communicate, like, all communication with you ends right now." It's just like inviting me into your chaos. And so, like, the gist of that story is like, the person must be married to somebody who doesn't like that they talk to people of like another gender or whatever. And I'm like, ugh, I can't deal with that shit. Get that away from me, because that makes no sense to me. Um, like, I'm not one of those people that like, I don't care who my wife talks to. Like, fucking talk to whoever you want. Like, I don't understand that way of thinking. That's like old school thinking to me. I saw a lot of it when I was in the military. But what changed that, like, so I met this is like a tangent. I met this person that I worked with. I thought she was like really, really cool, and her husband was like super cool, and they introduced me to hardcore music and like metal, and I will forever be in debt for them for that. But also, they were the most carefree people in the military I had ever met, ever, the whole 5 years I was in. And I just loved the way that, like, her husband was a civilian, so I worked with her. I loved her outlook. um I hung out with them a lot. They joked about like flirting with other people in front of, like, they were just so trustworthy of each other. And they joked about like, I'm gonna go flirt with like my coworker today or something like that. And there was just like, they trusted each other. There was no jealousy. There was no show me like your phone, even though cell phones weren't really that big of a thing when I went into the military. It was just, they were just starting to become a thing. God, that really ages me a bit. Uh, Even though I'm not like old old. But anyways, so like I've always, and so I saw how they were with each other. I was like, that's the way to be, man. Just trust each other. If you don't trust the other person, that says more about you than it does about them. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this shit. Like, keep me out of your marriage. I don't want that crap. It sounds chaotic to me. It sounds like there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, and don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to not hear about people's issues. Like, of course, like I talk about mine. Like, of course, I want to hear about what people are going through. But there's a difference between sharing that, perhaps asking for just maybe I listen, or just like, what do you think? There's a difference between that and then just like, bam, 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 this is what's going on, bam, bam, and then like crazy messages like that. And so it sounded like that person's wife was like, you're going to stop talking to her. And I'm like, oh my God. And in my mind, the way that the pattern with this person has been is like, sure, that'll maybe work for like a month, and then I'll get a random like text message like, okay, things are better now. Her and I talked. Like, I can't do that. So I just blocked, and left it at that. Just, I can't. Maybe I'll get to the point in my life where I'm mature enough to send a message like, hey, that wasn't cool. I'm not there yet. And it sounds like that person was kind of blocking me out of their life anyways. So I don't know. I'm just like, well, just in case, like, that isn't what's really going to happen, because it's just, I'll move on. It's the inconsistency I can't deal with. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with, like, that chaos. No, I don't do that shit no more. I don't have people like that in my life anymore. So I guess just that was a long winded PSA to just, like, make sure you enforce your boundaries, and like, if you've got people like that and you're not too happy with that kind of communication, maybe say something about it, and don't let it drag on for a couple of fucking years like I did. It's not like it was the same the whole time, but it's not like I got like a whole lot better. But anyways, moving right along. So the other day we took Xena, our 14-year-old cat, to the vet for a checkup. Um, I make Alicia come to me with the older ones because, um, they're old. Like, what if they find something during the appointment and it's like I'm being told, where you're gonna have to put her down. Like, I don't want to be by myself when that happens. But, anyways, and I know that, like, that's not really how things go typically, anyways, where you just bring your cat, and that's how I know, but my mind tells me that that's how it could go. So, um, I feel like I was on here recently talking about me and Alicia going to a vet. Oh, Caesar. Yeah, this was different. So this was a better appointment for us to go to. If you listened to that episode a while back with like her and I taking Caesar to the vet and how that didn't really, we kind of got into a tiff because I had a meltdown. But anyways, so she had a good checkup. And it was so fucking hot the other day. It was like 97 degrees outside. Oh my God. And so my main focus was I'm not bringing that cat into a car that hasn't been cooled down because she's gonna fucking die. It was like so hot. And she's just this old little gray cat, just this tiny little thing. Um, yeah, I'm talking about you. Oh, she's in my tent bed, sleeping in the little cat bed that I have in the corner of the tent bed down at the bottom. She's so cute. Anyways, so decent checkup. Should we have to bring her back in like a month to get minor dental surgery because she's got some snaggly teeth in the back of her mouth that are trying to they're annoying her, so those have to come out. But anyways, so since Xena is technically Alicia's cat, I was like, I will go out to the car and sit in there and, make sure it cools down so that by the time you're done paying, making that appointment to bring her in, like she should be good to bring out. So, anyways, so that's what I do. I go out there and then, sorry, I know I keep bouncing around with like my words. Anyways, I'm sitting in my car and I've talked about this vet a lot. So, like, you got the doctor Baumgartner. That's his name. And then you have the two technicians that are always there. It's always the three of them. So I'm going to call the dude Billy Bob and the lady Sally because I can never remember their names. And like those are my two names for pretty much anything. So anyway, and I like all three of them. Um, Even though the vet made me cry not that long ago. But anyways, I talked about that. I've moved on. So I'm sitting in the car and I see Billy Bob pull up into the parking lot and I'm like, "That's weird. I just saw Billy Bob in there. Why maybe he went out to smoke or something." So he gets out of his truck. He comes over cuz he sees me. The parking lot is like 3 spaces wide. That's how small the clinic is. So, um so he comes over to me and like I roll my window down. So, couldn't make the whole car cool, but he looked like he had some stuff to say. And so I was like, "Where'd you go?" He's like, "Guess." I'm like, "I don't know you like that. How am I supposed to know where you went?" And then I quickly picked up on the fact that like the doctor was probably a bit of an asshole to Sally and Billy Bob that day. And then I thought back to the visit, and Sally was like tiptoeing around the building. It was like walking on eggshell behavior. Have you ever read that book? The one about borderline personality disorder, which now I feel really should be about something different. But it's like walking on eggshells is what those two do around him. I was like, oh shit. And so but he goes, "Do you remember what happened last time?" And the way he said it, it was obvious he was referring to me and how the doctor made me fucking cry. And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Yeah. Well, that's the version we have in here today." I was like, "Oh." So Dr. Baumgardner did so well. Like I knew that he would never forget that he fucking made me cry. Um And I also sensed that something was going on among the three of them. But the doctor masked so well that I was like, wow, hard to believe the dude had a meltdown like 5 minutes prior to us coming in there. And that also explained why he did the majority of talking to my wife instead of looking at me. And I knew when he was doing that, like, you know how when people do that, it seems like it feels it's like I don't know what the word is to use. As if like you can't be bothered to be told like important information because you're not going to get it or something. It wasn't anything like that. I just had the sense of like, yeah, you better not fucking talk to me. Talk to her, you know. God. Cuz yeah, I guess I still have a little bit of a, you know, you shouldn't really make your people, don't be mean to your patients or your clients or whatever. But anyways, so he's like, yeah, like I don't know if I can keep working here anymore. And I know it sounds weird for him to be saying that, but I feel like I know these two, Billy Bob and Sally. You know, we've been going there for years. We're not friends, but you know, we know each other. I remember them, they remember me. Anyways, I was like, does he know he's autistic? And Billy's like, no. But my wife picked that up, his, or not his wife, his girlfriend's a therapist. And apparently, when she first met the doctor, that was the first thing she sniffed out. And Billy is ADHD, according to him, is what I learned that day. So I was like, oh, look at all this information I get to learn about you. So you're ADHD, you have a girlfriend that's a therapist. Cool, cool, cool. She knows about autism. So that's good information. No wonder I like Billy Bob and Sally. I was like, well, somebody needs to tell that man that he's autistic. And they just don't know how to do that. They don't know how it would help. So I don't know. I was like, I'm just saying, like, he's fucking having meltdowns. Something's going on with him. And I told Billy every time I come in there, it seems like he's having a harder time maintaining composure. Like, does that make sense? You know, because like I can just sense tension a lot of the times when I go in that building. It never used to be like that. I was like, something's going on with him, and maybe he's having these meltdowns and he doesn't know what they are. And I know, who am I to just? I'm not gonna go tell Doctor Baumgartner like, dude, you're autistic. But like, he's so autistic. I'm like, how do you not know? I'm autistic. You know, I consider myself so autistic, but like I don't mean that in an offensive way, but like, dude, all three of you are fucking autistic, but I let Billy Bob just go with the ADHD thing for now. You know, who am I? I'm not a diagnoser, you know, but I really think that he's autistic too. But anyway, ADHD, but anyways, so yeah, so I'm sitting there in the car and Billy Bob's like standing there and he's like, I just really needed to tell somebody that, like, you know, today kind of sucked at work. And he's like, I'm sorry it's you, but like also, like, you know, he did make you cry. I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, what a weird bunch. I hope that that place doesn't go out of business, but I'm wondering, like, that doctor needs to, like, oh, I hope he's okay. I don't know. I just thought that that was funny. That was- Anyways. Speaking of doctors, so yesterday I had my first doctor appointment. Um, first dash doctor appointment. Well, why am I spelling grammar or saying grammar? Um, you know, I feel like that's an updated experience I had yesterday. And by that I mean the last time I was a new patient for a doctor was at the VA. Well, the lady doctor when I had my hysterectomy, but I don't count that. I mean, like my overall general doctor, that was at the VA so many years ago. I need more water. Okay. And it's the fizzy kind too, so hopefully I don't burp. Because I burp a lot. But anyways, why did I say that? I don't know. So I had the appointment yesterday. And I don't know if like doctor's appointments or if doctor's offices look like this in general or like it was new to me. Like when I went to the VA, when I've gone with my wife to her doctor's appointments, it's all the same. Like when you go, the first thing they do is they weigh you and they do it in a fucking hallway in front of everybody, even though the number thing is supposedly small enough for not everybody to see, but they fucking have you stand on the weight thing in the middle of a hallway while people and doctors are like walking by. I'm like, that's fucking weird to me. It's always been weird. Like, stop that shit. And so I go into the doctor's office and I'm amazed at what's in there. They have their own little weight machine, weight scale. You know how I describe things. I don't do it well. But there's that in every doctor's office, waiting room. No, not waiting room. Sorry, I guess this is how I am sounding today. Um, when they take you back to whatever room they see you in. So everything that you need is in there. And it's a tiny fucking room, but everything fits. Everything looks organized and orderly. They even have like paintings on the walls. So it's not even like a boring room where you're just staring at nothing except for like your feet are going to rot off if you eat this banana. Like that dumb shit from, when you go to like doctors' places and you look at the crap that they have on their walls when you're waiting to be seen and you're like, this shit's from the fucking 80s and 90s. Like, why is this still up here? But there was none of that. So that was good. Um, and so I told my wife Alicia before we went there, I said, you should just know to be prepared. If I feel invalidated, we're leaving. And I know she didn't like that. And she's like, oh. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll say something. I mean, I'm not going to make a scene or nothing, but like, if this don't go the way it's supposed to go, just prepare that like I'm going to say something like, an acknowledgement that this isn't working for me, and then we're just gonna leave. She's like, okay. And I thought to myself, I hope that doesn't fucking happen, because I hear all these horror stories about doctors, and I've experienced a buttload of shitty fucking doctors throughout my life. So, oh, it was weird. I was like, don't prepare for the worst. Don't prepare for the worst. We're trying to think better. But anyways, so like we're sitting back there. Do you know who fucking comes in? I called her, not to her face, Debbie Hauser. Um, do you guys remember Doogie Howser, that show? What was it? Oh, I loved that show. Was it 1989 to 93 or something is when it was on? I think it was Neil Patrick Harris. And I even remember the theme song. I love like good theme songs from shows. But anyways, Doogie Howser, what was he in that show? Like fucking 14 or something? This doctor couldn't have been out of her 20s, mid 20s. And I know I probably was like, oh, like I think I made a face, not a bad one, but like a surprise. She's probably seen a lot of them because she looks like a fucking kid. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And you know what? It was a great fucking appointment. It was even better. It was the best. I feel like I say this for every new updated experience, but for real, this was like the best doctor's appointment I've ever had. Even better than that last VA appointment I had when they gave me a new doctor and she was obviously autistic to me and I liked her a lot. This was way better. Um, I brought my list. I added dyspraxia to it because my internet scholar had left a comment on something that I wrote, and I was like, "Oh yes, I forgot I needed to add dyspraxia to my list of what to give them in case it's helpful." So they appreciated that I had that list. They made a photocopy of it. My overall assessment of like that place is a bunch of misfits work in that wing. Wherever like the universe handed me a great fucking just it was wonderful. They're all a bunch of weirdos over there. They're like my people, like our people. My wife is a weirdo too. I was like, this is great. I don't know how to describe it any better than that. They're not your typical like boring ass, dry, mean ass doctors. Like these people had personality. They were fun. They were warm. They were nice. And what was funny was it's within, so like there's no copay I have to pay because it's within the hospital system my wife works within because she does the addictions counseling and therapy, but she doesn't work in the hospital, but it's like part of the hospital. And then like her doctor isn't even in that system. She goes outside of it, which that's fine. She likes that doctor anyways, so she doesn't feel the need to like go within her system, but I don't know. I was like, wow, she might be missing out. This is like great. These people are nice. Little Debbie Hauser um knows her shit. She knows about autism. Um That was surprising to me. I really was expecting to just have to talk with somebody that doesn't know anything about it and then was going to be like, well, how do you know you're autistic? So, like, all those old experiences that I have, heard of, I've had some of them, they didn't happen. Not the negative ones. Um, she laughed about, like, because she asked about my mental health, and thank goodness my wife was there because I just don't think about shit sometimes. And I was like, that's weird that she's asking me about my mental health. But I was like, okay, I guess I'll play along. I was like, it's okay. I did therapy for a lot of years. I'm doing much better. La la la. And then Alicia was able to pick up on. I think she's like referencing the Wellbutrin. I was like, oh yeah. And so old Debbie is like, yeah, it's not often I see 35 milligrams of Wellbutrin being written down as like a medication somebody's taking because the minimum is 100 milligrams. I was like, oh yeah, it's been so long since I've been at 100. So I explained that process and how, like, in a couple months, I'm coming up on a year of me weaning myself off of like this shit. She asked how I wanted to proceed, and I told her I wanted to proceed with continuing to wean myself off, and she was okay with that. I was like, this is fucking weird. Like, I thought some doctor was gonna try to. You shouldn't do that. I admitted I shouldn't have done that way, but it's what I did. Um, I talked to her about the Ehlers-Danlos possibility, maybe. Not sure. There was like two types I had narrowed it down to. I think it was like the hypermobile and like the classic EDS. Um, she was like well versed in that too, and she's like, the waiting list for that in this area is like 3.5 fucking years. Can you believe it? And I live in New York, and we have resources, but shit, that's a long fucking time to be on a list. And even she acknowledged that that was ridiculous, and there needs to be more effort and resources and stuff put toward Ellers downloads so that that's not something that's happening. I was like, yeah, I'm not like that. I mean, I could be put on the list, but that's not like a pressing. I was like, let's just forget about that. And so then we moved on to POTS, and I told her that I really don't want to do any kind of tilt table test unless like there's some sort of magic pill, other than the anti-nausea pill that I can't even take every day. And so, after we had some discussion about my symptoms, she talked about like maybe a low blood pressure med or something. But like I would need the tilt test to have more data for them to work off of so they can see what kind of medication might be appropriate for me. And I was like, oh, like I'm down with that. So the waiting list for that is like 9 months, I think she said. That's a fucking long time, but I got put on the list for that cuz yeah, I will do the tilt test thing even though that doesn't sound like it sounds like something that's going to make me throw up, but maybe it's just the way my brain's like processing it. So she knew about that. She didn't even question the fact that like I believe 100% that I have POTS. She didn't invalidate me at all. She was very friendly, personable. I don't know. Like I like her. Um It was a great appointment. I can't believe it. And then she sent me to get blood work done, and that was a good experience too. And I have 20 tattoos, but it's not the same thing as getting blood done. Like you guys know who have like it's just not the same. And so ever since my 20s, whenever I've gotten blood work done without fail, the person's always like, cuz like I look away. My process is I go in, I sit down. Oh, hi little lady. Hold on, the queen wants to leave. Can you get down? You got it? Okay, good. Um, my process when I go in to get blood drawn is like I don't have like that phobia thing where I have to lay down and I'm gonna pass out. It's not like that. But I can't look or else that will happen. So I look the other way, I give them whatever arm they want. Like they usually can find a vein like pretty easily. I'm not somebody that needs to be poked at a whole lot. And I just don't look. I try not to move my body, but like I'm just so anxious, so it's like I just look away. And I always feel like I'm being made fun of in some way for that. Oh, you got all these tattoos. Oh, ha ha. This is the same thing, though. I don't get it. Yeah, you wouldn't, you asshole. It's not the fucking same thing. It's like getting a tattoo is. I'm not even going to try to put that into words today. It's just not the fucking same thing. And so instead, she just asked me rando questions that seemed weird to me. Like, what are your plans for the rest of the day? That's not a weird question to ask, but that's not a. I don't. I was like, Tiny Talk? I didn't know that they made that here. And I was like, I don't know, actually. I didn't get past the rest of this appointment yet. I didn't think about the rest of the day. And then some other questions. And then she's like, okay, you're gonna feel a little poke, and she did the poke, and then it was like some silence for a bit, and then she asked another question. And then she got done, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, thank you for not making the joke about the tattoos and me looking away. And she's like, why would I make that joke? I was like, because everybody else does. And she's like, I'm not like everybody else. I was like, oh, I love hearing that. So I thanked her for not asking me that stupid fuck or making that comment. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like a big deal, but like I've had so much blood drawn. I've heard that comment over and over and over. The ha ha, he, her, you gotta look away, but you got all these tattoos. Sorry, that's like always fucking bothered me. Like, you stupid motherfuckers don't fucking get it because you don't have tattoos. Maybe you don't have like an issue with like, blood being taken from you. Fuck you. Like, can you not just have empathy for other people's experiences, even though you haven't experienced those experiences yourself? Please, please. So I am 1,000% happy that I switched from the VA. I'm also aware that I can go back to the VA at any point in my life if I feel like it, unless like they really like, you know, shit the bed, or if that's even the right term to use. Like, they're still there. Like, I'm aware I can go back whenever I want because that's a privilege from being in a cult. And you know what? I made it through the cult and I earned that privilege. So maybe in the future, if they get better or if something comes up or if, maybe I'll go back. But like, I have no plans on that. I am happy with Debbie Hauser. She does not know that I think of her as Debbie Hauser. I think it'd be funny, but maybe not if she knew that, but maybe not. Um, yeah, I wish there were, wherever she went to school and she did great because this is what doctors should be like. Just be friendly, just be kind, and just know basic shit. Like, know about autism and neurodivergence. She even sat there and was like talking about how like she's aware that it's like they all connect. The ED, the, dyspraxia, the POTS, autism. Like, she is aware of that stuff. That's the first time I've ever talked to a doctor who said that out loud and had those though just said that to me. So I don't care if that bitch was fucking 10. She seems to know her shit. I'm very happy with that. So anyways, moving right along from that appointment. Um but yeah, I have to get my titties squeezed at some point and like do the now you're in your 40s and you got to do stuff that you didn't have to do when you were younger. Like, they're moving colonoscopies from age 50 to 45 now, so Alicia gets to have her first butt plug thing. No, that's not the way to say it. Shouldn't have said it that way. Scope up her butt. Um, I wish I didn't say butt plug. That was not a Freudian slip. I am asexual. I do not do butt plugs. Oh, I need to stop talking about that. I'm gonna just move on. Where am I at? Okay. What else did I have? I don't remember if I talked about these last time because my brain sucks. So I'm sorry if this is a repeat and I sound however I sound, but I can't remember if I talked about this neck fan I got. So I'm just going to say real quick, neck fans are fucking awesome. Get one if you're able to. My first one was like a $5 neck fan that I purchased from the fucking dollar store when I took the girls out a few months back. I had never seen one before. I had never even known that such a thing was invented until I saw one there. I was like, I must try this thing. And I tried it, and that cheap little thing works great. Long charge, lasts for hours continuously, and does wonders for like my hot flashes and temperature issues and stuff like that. So I was like, I guess like I gotta upgrade. So I did, and I got a $20 one that has like, well, I'm not going to describe that. It's just it's a better one. And if you have menopause or POTS, or if you just run hot, like, they're wonderful in my opinion. And I'm somebody who likes heavy things, metal things, like metal fidget spinners. So like the $20 one that I got um is heavier around my neck. So I kind of like the weight of that. That feels nice, in case anybody is like that. And that's helpful to know. Also, this is like super embarrassing, but I'm okay with that. I probably embarrass myself all the time on here, anyways. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. Um, so Alicia got us our very first wireless vacuum. Oh my God, I feel like such a fucking nerd, but I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with being at the age where I'm excited about wireless vacuums. Um, Here's something embarrassing to. No, I don't. No, do I say that? No. Yeah, well, it exists in an episode somewhere. So, like, nah, that's too much to. Nah, why am I thinking out loud? People don't want to hear this shit. So, in my opinion, 10 to 15 years ago, I didn't think that there were very good pet vacuums on the market. I had bought a couple that advertised themselves as like good pet vacuums, like like they clean up the hair, because cats shed, man. Animals shed. So like you need a vacuum that picks up more than just like your regular house shit. And so I remember buying these vacuums, and they broke down within the first like couple of months. I was like, these are fucking pieces of shit. They don't work. So from then on out, and this was like after I got out of the military and I had moved to the States. Um, I don't remember what I did in the military. I probably just used a regular vacuum. But after those two times, I was like, you know what? These like, oh, they pick up hair. Those vacuums are scams. They're all liars. So I met Alicia, and she came with a shop vac, and it was a decent sized one. Not like a tiny one, not the huge one, kind of like in between. And I had never seen a shop vac before, and I was amazed at the suction. Just picked up everything. And the first thought that went through my mind was pet hair. It's going to get the pet hair, the cat hair. So, and it did. But it was the kind of thing where, like, we didn't have all the extension stuff. So, like, in order to vacuum, oh God, I sat down and I just did it. I vacuumed on my butt. I would vacuum like a piece of carpet, scooch back, vacuum some more, scooch back. I got a lot of exercise. I did a lot of the crab, that moving backward exercise. That's how I vacuumed for several years, because like that shop vac came with us when we moved to Syracuse. Like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing that I can't even believe I fucking did that. But it seems so normal to me. Alicia never made me feel weird about it. So what's that say about her? And she never like, I don't know, she never had pets of her own. So how would she know about the different like vacuums and whether or not they can pick up cat hair pretty well. You know what I mean? So I was like, this shop vac has solved my fucking problem. All the cat hair is picked up. It's like much cleaner. It solved my life. And that's all I ever used. And then as I did that for several years, people came out with better vacuums that picked up hair. Um, and so we finally got one, and I was like, oh my God, I don't have to sit down on my butt anymore. And I know I fucking did an episode about that. I know I did. I talked about it somewhere in the archive, where I was like, I don't have to sit on my butt and vacuum anymore, guys. Now I can stand up, and I'm so excited about that. And I was. And that wore off after about a year. And then, it's like, talk about like lazy. I don't know. Is it lazy? Is it wanting to be more efficient? I don't know. But now it's just like the cord's just annoying. The cord's just, you have to drag the cord and it gets into things and it wraps around shit. And like that got annoying. And then the vacuum started to not work as well. And so I've been like saying to Alicia over the last several months, like, we need a new vacuum. We need a new vacuum. This isn't working. And, like, this is just our pattern because she's better at researching stuff like that than I am and picking things that are good. And so she just didn't get around to it. And finally, the vacuum was at a point where I was like, we need a vacuum now. And what does this bitch do? She gets the Bis is a Bissell wireless vacuum. It was like on sale at Costco. Oh my god. I'm obsessed. All I've been doing is vacuuming. Well, not all I've been doing, but like, at least once a day. Something's got to get vacuumed. And it comes with two battery pack things. So while I'm using one, the other one is like already charged, waiting to go. And I can just pull it out whenever I need it. Like, I don't have to plug anything in. I don't have to unwrap or like wind up a fucking cord or untangle it. This is amazing. And I don't care how the fuck long these have been out on the market. This is the first time we've had one. And I am obsessed. I am grateful for whoever the fuck invented technology like this. This is amazing. All I have to do is pull that little baby out, and it's like so thin, it just goes on the side of the fridge. So thin, doesn't even take up space. Turn the button on, wow, and like nothing to plug in. Okay, so hopefully that something in here was relatable. Thanks for listening. Um, I'm not good at ending episodes, and I think that's pretty much all I needed to say. So yeah, I hope something in here was relatable. Um, I'm really glad I'm autistic, for real, for real. Okay, gotta go. Bye.